You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS fluff or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 258. 3 gifts every small business owner needs this holiday season. If you're a business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. We're going to dive into the 3 gifts you should give yourself this holiday season to reduce holiday stress, make running your business more manageable, and make your holidays a little more merry and bright. Today's episode is a replay from several years ago, but the content is still just as relevant today. Many of you have probably not heard it, and for those of you that have, this is a great reminder to be present in your life and not just in your business this holiday season. And now, let's get to the straight talk. The holiday season is here. In fact, as this episode goes live, you're probably in the midst, the height of preparing for celebrating your holidays. And I was chatting with my assistant like, hey, what can this last episode before the holidays be about? And we brainstormed a lot, but I love doing an episode that is on topic and specific to the time and place that you're at right now in your business and life. So we're talking about the 3 gifts that you can gift yourself this holiday season to ensure that you have less stress. Because what I have found and why I think this topic is extremely important is that one of 2 things happen around the holidays. One, and they're the extremes. Now, if you're in the middle, I get ya. I love you. That means you're doing it and it's all good. But more often than not, I see 2 extremes. The first extreme is that the business owner literally checks out from Thanksgiving to after New Year's. Okay? Like there's just too much personal stuff going on. They aren't quite sure how to balance it all, so they choose to not balance it and they just go all in on the holidays. Now, with one disclosure of the fact that if this is done on purpose, go you. But my guess is that this is not done on purpose, that you didn't sit down and plan your year or plan your holidays saying, I'm going to check out on my business and hope that when I pop back up the first week of January, I have all the momentum and accomplishments that I needed and wanted to make the next year amazing. What I normally find is that literally the brakes are put on to then switch your attention to all the extra stuff that comes along with the holidays, whether it's holiday parties and family get-togethers and extra shopping and cooking and gifting, and the list goes on, that literally squeezes out all of the business other than just like keeping the ball going, like I guess visually, I see plates. And so you'll do just what you need to keep the plate going, to keep the business going, but you're definitely not pouring in any extra and probably not working on projects and probably just figuring out what you can do to keep things going. Okay. So I hope that was a really good visual of one extreme. The second extreme is that the business owner says, I have goals, I have deadlines, I have this business I'm growing, and kind of bah humbug to the holidays. And so then it's an all or nothing into the business. And then at the end of the season, or maybe even during the season, you have friends and family that are expressing wanting you to be involved and more present and more available for this time of the holidays. And so definitely 2 extremes. Now, My guess is that the holiday season catches you by surprise. Not that you haven't had it every single year, but that in your mind, you think it's business as usual, and then smack, all of a sudden, it's like an avalanche of your personal to-dos just stacking up, stacking up, stacking up. All right. So if you're in either one of these extremes, or you're currently not experiencing the holiday cheer and joy that you want to because you feel torn, because you feel stressed out balancing business and all of the personal things that happen to come up around the holidays, then I want you to listen to the rest of this episode. I want you to give yourself these gifts, because you know what? All gifts don't come wrapped up in sparkling paper and a giant bow. I highly recommend you give these 3 gifts that will make your business more manageable and growing during the holidays, and your holidays a little bit more bright and merry. Okay, so gift number 1 is to have realistic expectations. Setting realistic expectations will not set yourself up for feeling like a failure, like you couldn't get it all done, that you should have been doing something that you didn't do. And so here are some ideas about setting realistic expectations. Know how you show up during the holidays. If you're someone that loves to decorate all of the house and the inside of the house and the outside of the house and cook the cookies and do all of the things, and that brings you joy, and that is part of your lifestyle design, then we need to be realistic with what's going to happen in the business so that you don't feel like you should be in the business, but and you're not. This time of the year can in fact be planned for. Here's how I planned for it this year. I think I shared this in a previous episode. If I didn't, here it is again, is that we went through a very busy season in September and October, and then like the first week of November in my business, both for me and my team. And as we were in the midst of this big, heavy push in projects and what we were up to behind the scenes, I knew that I wanted to purposely slow it down. And not that just the normal slow down around the holidays, but being very purposeful and planning it out. And so I actually blocked off my calendar from the Monday before Thanksgiving through the first week in January. So at this point in my business, unless you are a current client or you are a prospective client, I am not taking appointments. So this means interviews. It means interviews on my podcast. It means all the extra opportunities. And so while there's a few that have been manually scheduled in because they were already in the works, I have been very, very ruthless with creating a lot of extra white space. But I did this for a few reasons. I did it because I knew my business needed me to have time to pull back and reflect and plan. We also had projects that we wanted to tie up behind the scenes before 2020. And more importantly, why I'm even sharing this story is that I really, really wanted to lean into the holidays this year. My family and I went on a week-long trip in November for Thanksgiving. And then I planned a girls' trip, which is this next weekend. Actually, I'll be coming back from it when this episode goes live. And the holidays for my family, which we celebrate Christmas. And so I really, really wanted to lean into it. And I wanted to take off almost the entire 2 weeks my son was off this year. And when I say off, I did schedule a few work days, but they are like non-client facing work days. This is me working on my business as a CEO and really being visionary and strategizing and doing the things that take a lot of focus and attention. And I would not have been able to create that had I not set realistic expectations, knowing that I did not want the stress that would come with, serving my current clients, bringing on new projects, having extra meetings, strategizing in my business, and then leaning into all the things we wanted to do in the holidays. So I had to say no to something, and that was a big decision. So setting realistic expectations can go such a huge way. Now, here's another way that I intentionally set realistic expectations this year. I took my 9-year-old son on a coffee Starbucks date, coffee/cocoa. He was not drinking coffee, date. And what we did was we talked about 3 things during this time. And the first one was, what experiences did we want to make sure we created this year for our family? And the experiences were all around traditions. Traditions such as ice skating, going to this place called Opportunity Village that, does an entire holiday light up and you drink hot cocoa and go with the family. We wanted to do a snow day. I know that sounds funny to some of you, but we live in Las Vegas, so we traveled to do a fun snow day to play in the snow. We have traditions such as going to specific people's homes around the holidays. So we just brainstormed and did this list of what are all the things we want to experience? And on there was visiting Santa. And what I got to do was also hear from him about what's important. And I realized I think I've created a lot of traditions over the years. So the list was long. And then the second thing we asked ourselves was, what do we want to do with or for people during this holiday season? My son, even more so than myself and my husband, is just an incredibly thoughtful person, and his love language is quality time. And so for him, it was about doing these experiences with people. And so we went through the experiences list, and I literally texted family friends. I texted my sister-in-law, I texted my mother-in-law, and we went through this list and invited people to come along on these experiences with us so that it was creating an experience for those that we love as well. And then we thought, well, what experience do we want to do for other people? And so that's when we created some opportunity to, serve or bring people together around the holidays this year. And I really loved how intentional that was. And then the third thing was, what do we want to feel during the holiday season? So for me, it was unstressed and joyful and grateful to be able to do all of these things that at times may feel like a bit much. And he shared also what he wanted to experience during the holiday season. And so now I had this list, and then we went through the list and I said, okay, so what are our priority non-negotiables? And then what are our want lists? And what that did was, for me, release some mother guilt, because I, of course, want to do it all, right? I love the holidays. I love having a good time. But quite frankly, I still have other responsibilities. So we really looked at it, and then we created a plan. And then from the plan, I literally took action on each of them. If it needed to be bought, I put it on a buy list. If it needed to be scheduled, I started putting it on my calendar or reaching out to people to schedule. And so I literally moved everything forward on this list before we left our Starbucks date. So that was about setting expectations and or intentions while also taking action on each of them in a very specific way that felt good, and that we were able to identify what it is that we can do. Now, we can't do it all. I'm not shopping for Christmas dinner now, weeks and weeks early, but I made the list, right? Of here's what I would like to do for Christmas dinner. All right, so that's enough of the strategy, but the gift to yourself was just to set realistic expectations. One of the things that has come and gone over the years is holiday cards. This year, we are not doing holiday cards. In years past, we have, and each year I make a decision of whether I want to do holiday cards, and I just wasn't up to it this year. The other thing that often comes and goes is that we make candy. And when I say we, I mean I. The boys get excited about eating it, but for me, it means my kitchen is torn up for, if not over a week, a couple weeks. It feels like I'm continually making candy every day. And so that is also a tradition, that it's a recipe that came from my aunt that passed away. And I remember making it with her when I was a kid. And so for me, it does hold tradition, but some years I'm not up to it, and other years I am. Some years I want to do candy for every single person I ever met, ever, that can lives locally. And other years it's just a very, very curated list. And so I share that with you because I want you to not feel like you need to do something or be somewhere because it was a tradition. Maybe it's a great opportunity to create new tradition. And quite honestly, I have realized over the years is that I put way more weight, priority, story on the things that I thought I needed to do or that I believe should be done around the holidays. And again, over the years, as I've shed those away, I've realized it by deleting things that I wasn't joyful to do, it actually created a lot more space for me to do the things I was joyful for. For example, if I didn't find joy either this year or next year in creating candy, and when I had to weigh, I have to make this candy because I have this long list of people I'm making candy for, or can I spend a half a day going ice skating? Right? And so my guess is that a year that I decided not to do candy, I leaned more into activities because there was time to do so. And so again, I give you this example so that you can customize this for you, but set expectations and don't worry about what has been done before. Create what you want to create for this year. Okay, next, gift number 2 is be flexible. Oh my gosh. Okay. So have a plan, but expect the unexpected and be flexible and understanding. Here's the deal. As we were creating this episode, I had just come back from a Thanksgiving vacation. My assistant, Crystal, had just come back from a Thanksgiving vacation, and neither of our vacation travel plans went as expected. And when I say not as expected, I mean majorly not expected. Our trip was to Cheyenne, Wyoming. We ended up getting snow days and snowed in. We got snowed into the state. We weren't even able to leave Cheyenne when we wanted to. And so that's just like one example, but you throw family and other plans and all of the things, it's so much better to come to the holidays being flexible. Crystal, now she is like such an efficient woman, okay? So obviously that's why she is my assistant. But she had planned. Now she has 2 little boys, very young. She was traveling from Michigan to Reno, and she knew that she needed to keep these boys busy. Now, a flight that should have been semi-direct and a much shorter flight got canceled because of the same storm I got caught in Wyoming, because her connecting flight was in Denver. So anyway, same storm. We literally live across the country, and for the same storm, her entire schedule got thrown. They rerouted her, and it ended up being, I think she said, a 13-hour day of travel to get from Michigan to Wyoming with 2 young boys. Multiple plane changes, multiple on-off meals. Okay, so get this. She packs her carry-on luggage to include things to keep the boys busy, games and snacks and food and all the things that she knew would keep her boys busy. And as they were hustling into the airport, her husband checks the carry-on luggage. And they don't realize until they're getting on the plane. And so she had to go and be flexible because she had a plan. She was well prepared, and that got changed. And so she made it work, right? Like she bought some stuff to entertain them at the airport. They bought food. Of course, the kids were good and amazing, but she literally had to think on her toes and be flexible. That is not how she expected her holiday vacation to be started either. My guess is you have plenty of stories from the past that would support the fact that if you gave yourself the gift of flexibility, you would be a lot less stressed this holiday season. All right, gift number 3 is create the experience you want. Now, I spoke about it, giving you an example in the first one of have realistic expectations. And the first question I asked myself and my son was, what experiences do you want? And then the third question was, how do we want to feel during the holidays, which I think kind of go hand in hand. So number 3 is create the experience you want. What kind of balance do you want to create with your business this holiday season? Now, when I opened up, I gave you 2 extreme examples. The business owner that literally steps out of their business, or you've got the business owner that is not participating in any of the holidays because their business absolutely needs them 100%. And so if you're anywhere in the middle, want to be anywhere in the middle, then I want you to articulate what that looks like. I want you to plan right now, based on your current experience and your current feelings, what you want to create in 2020. So November, December of 2020. I want you to write this out. Now, one of the other things that I do as well is that I feel like I often forget what it was like or things that I learned that would work better, or I don't really remember them when I come from season to season. So many, many, many years ago, I started writing myself a letter that I scheduled to open in Thanksgiving week. Okay. And so what this letter is it's ongoing. I think it goes way back to like 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And at the end of the holiday season, what I do is a recap and say, what did I learn? What worked best? What did the family enjoy? What do I wish that I could have done? What do I not want to do next year? And literally just kind of brainstorm, and I just title it the year. And then when I schedule myself to read it again in November, I'm refreshed about going into the holiday season and what we want to do and create. And so I want you to really, really determine, what do you want your holiday season to be in 2020? If it is to be more present in your business, right, then I want you to plan as though you are going to be working, and what days do you want to work and what days do you want off? Okay, so if you normally work a 5-day work week, then maybe during the holidays, you want to say it's a 3-day work week. But I want you to make a commitment to what does that balance look like? Because unplanned, the holiday season can just bloom and mushroom and take over, okay? If you are on the other extreme where it's no holiday, I want you to plan and schedule time off. I want you to schedule it right now. And when you're planning your projects or taking on clients, it's going to be clear that there's going to be a reduction in your availability during the holidays because you're choosing to show up different for that. Okay, so let's recap these 3 gifts going into the holiday season. Number 1 is have realistic expectations. Gift number 2 is be flexible. And gift number 3 is create the experience you want. Hey, guess what? Well, this has everything to do with what you want to create for your holidays. I could literally change the title of this episode and teach the same exact content about your business. In your business, give yourself the gift of realistic expectations. So, i.e., if you have a long to-do list that you start with every single day and you go in with the mindset that you need to get it all done or just work as fast and effectively as possible to just bang down the list, you may not have realistic expectations. If you're saying yes to all the things but are not thinking about what it will actually take to execute them, you may not be giving yourself the gift of realistic expectations. 2, be flexible. The biggest gift you can give yourself from day to day and for projects and growth of your business is to be flexible. As you're growing your business, you're going to have to roll with the punches, for a lack of better term. You are going to have to be flexible so you do not break. This is true for planning your days and your weeks and your quarters. It's true for how you are going to achieve your goals. Being flexible is a gift in business ownership. Number 3, create an experience you want. Here's the deal. You chose this. You chose being a business owner. People don't generally accidentally become a business owner. Even if you're an interior designer, it didn't mean you had to be a business owner. Even if you're an attorney, it didn't mean you have to be a business owner. And in fact, I could argue if you're a real estate agent, you didn't have to be a business owner. There's plenty of different ways in which you could do real estate without owning your own business. And since you chose to be a business owner, you get to choose your experience. You can be joyful. You can have time for the holidays. You can choose the experience you want. Do you want your business to serve you, or do you want to be its servant day and night, day and night? What experience of business ownership would you like to create? That's a gift. Sitting down and really, really thinking about this and creating it by design and not by default is a gift that will honestly make you the best business owner you could possibly be. So this holiday season, I would love for you to give yourself these 3 gifts and keep them for the remainder of your duration of being a business owner. I've loved having you listen to Productivity Straight Talk, and I sure hope you found today's episode to be valuable. But I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So, based on today's episode, I would love for you to give these gifts to yourself. I would love for you to truly embrace the season and create the experiences and memories with those that you love and care for. And my hope is that today's episode was a great reminder and provided some insights and strategies for you to do just that. If you find yourself in the giving spirit this holiday season, I will ask that you share this podcast with a fellow business owner who would find it valuable. And if you really want to go the extra mile and give a gift, I would very much appreciate the gift of leaving a review of this podcast wherever you're listening. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.